안녕하세요. 이번 시간에는 헬리움10의 교육 매니저이자 그리고 실셀러 팟캐스트라는 아마존이 가장 많이 듣는 셀러 팟캐스트의 메인 호스트 브래들리와 함께 헬리움10에 대한 많은 기능들과 그리고 물건 런칭 전에 어떻게 여러분들께서 가능성들을 이제 어느 정도 체크를 하실 수 있는지, 예측을 할 수 있는지, 더 나아가서 새로운 물건 찾는 방법에 대해서 이야기를 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. Alright, today we'd love to hear about what kind of tools do Helium10 have, and I know there are like tons of features, but like how and when can we implement these tools, and even before launching a new product, since like you've launched like more than 400 products, like how can we estimate and validate its possibility? Would that be okay?
All right, so I'm going to share my screen and just give you guys an overview. Like was mentioned, we've got over 30 tools now.
Right.
Even if this was a 3-hour meeting, we couldn't possibly go over all of them. But I wanted to highlight some of the main parts that I think affect any seller of regardless if you're brand new,
right,
or if you're an existing seller and you're looking to expand out. These are who is Helium10 for. We have people who are using Helium10. They have never sold on Amazon before.
Right.
They're just starting. We have multi-billion-dollar corporations using the same version of Helium10 than everybody else, like Lego. Everybody knows the Lego company. They use Helium10 for their Amazon business. So it doesn't matter what level you are. You can find some good use in Helium10.
All right.
Let me share my screen here. All right. So here is our main dashboard. And what I want to talk about today is kind of like, how do you find product opportunity on Amazon? And so it's important that we talk about what is not opportunity, and so like one example I always show is like collagen peptides.
Right.
Or I could use like this Korean face mask. All right. I'm just assuming I used to work a lot in a lot of these companies. Like I worked for Skin Food and a lot of Korean companies a long time ago. And we used to deal with these products, but you see here, like this one, there's already 10,000 reviews and these are not Korean face masks. These maybe are made in Korea, but this is not what we think about when we're thinking of K-beauty. So if you look at the Korean face mask products, you see a lot of ones that have, look at that, 22,000 reviews, 9,000 reviews, so here's another one, 2,000 reviews, 1,000 reviews. So this is what we call not opportunity, so, maybe 5 years ago, it was opportunity. But if you were to start with a new product that's a Korean face mask, it would be kind of hard for you to compete with these other products unless you were a big brand name, like Skin Food or something like that, because these products have so many reviews is one thing. So how do you find demand where it's not like this is the question. And so one example is we can use Black Box, and specifically the Black Box for keywords. Okay. Now, one thing to keep in mind today, I'm going to be showing everybody based on Amazon USA, but this tool works in a lot of other marketplaces. We see here, I could do the same thing in Canada, Mexico, Germany, Spain, France, Italy, UK, India, and Netherlands. Do you sell in other marketplaces?
Not recently. No, I used to sell in the UK, but not anymore.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, some people only sell in USA, some people only sell in Europe, but regardless what you're doing, you would do the research in that marketplace and you would select this. So we just talked about, looking for things that don't have many reviews, but what is a good indicator of demand for a keyword? Like how would you know if there's demand for the keyword? What would you say?
For me, it would be the search volume and the monthly revenue.
Yeah, search volume, definitely. I mean, that's how you know, if there is a keyword in demand, it has to be a lot of people searching for it, right? So that's why we have this here, search volume. So I'm just going to put here, I don't know, let's just go small. Let's do like 3,000 to 6,000, all right? And let's say that it's a product. I don't want to see, refrigerators or big expensive products. So I'm going to say, if I were to take the average price of some of the top products on page one, let's go with like $45, maximum. And review count, this is what I like. If I were to take the average reviews of what is on page 1. Average reviews on page 1. Let's just say it's less than 100. Is there anything available like that? Can you give me some categories we can check in?
Let's go for arts and crafts.
Okay. Anything else?
Baby.
Baby. All right. Yep. Maybe one more.
Let me see the home decor.
Home decor. All right. Let's do home and kitchen. Perfect.
Yep.
All right. So we check those, and let's just go with that. Let's just see what comes out. So basically, what I'm saying here is I'm saying, hey, Helium10, out of all your millions of keywords in your database, please show me something that is searched for, estimated between 3,000 and 6,000 times a month. And if I were to take the average price of the top products, that's kind of average, less than 45. And if I were to take the average number of reviews of those products on the top ones on page 1, it's maybe 100 or less. So, and we're looking in three categories. So we could see here a lot of, posters and things like that, anime, Valentine's, there's Valentine's is kind of around this time. So we can see that. I'm going to take away, I can take away poster. But if I want to, here's something interesting, tic-tac-toe resin mold. We might not know what that is. So what you do is you look here and you can see, wow, this is searched for 5,000 times a month. Okay. How does it look on Amazon? And now here we can see the difference. We can see the difference of like what we saw in the Korean face mask. Remember, we saw a Korean face mask. We had like 20,000 reviews and 20,000 reviews. It was kind of crazy. But look here, Amazon's choice, the number 1, page 1, position 1, only 80 reviews. Number 2, 8 reviews. Number 3, 90 reviews. Number 4, 60 reviews. So this one is a big difference with other products that are more saturated, because if I only have 5 reviews, if I'm a new product, it doesn't look so bad compared to 8 or compared to 80. When I have 5 reviews and trying to compete with a product of 20,000 reviews, that's when things can get a little bit more difficult.
Right.
So we can, it looks like every single one, this is actually kind of surprising, is very low reviews here. Like I don't even see any, like finally one that has more than 100, but this would be interesting. Now, I'm not saying, hey, everybody, please go buy resin tic-tac-toe. That obviously takes a little bit more, searching in order to find in order to verify. But that was kind of like the second part of your question, right? It's like, how do you verify if this is, demand or not? We kind of have an idea. Let's take a look at, you also mentioned, sales revenue. So let's just see what's an estimate of how many units these products are selling. So we can see some of them here selling 400 per month, 700 per month, 150 per month, 200. So it's okay. Maybe selling 5 units a day, 10 units a day, 20 units a day. So we have an idea what the sales volume is. But for example, like let's say this one right here, look at this one. This one is doing 700 units a month. So that's like more than 20 a day, making more than $10,000. So if you wanted to research this product, or now that you know that this is selling over $10,000 a month, what would you like to know about this product? Like what would be important for you? What would you say? Like what do you need to know?
Sourcing price. And
sourcing price,
yes, maybe like how many new sellers are coming. Sure,
new sellers are coming. We can see both of those in Helium10. For example, sourcing price. We typed tic-tac-toe resin mold. I can just quickly go to the Alibaba.com, but just using this right here, right? And then I could see some of these exact products, and then I would see, oh, here's some from Alibaba that are only $2 and $3, $1. $1. So there's those awesome. Give me some ideas, right?
Yeah.
What generates sales? Like how do you make sales? Like how does somebody buy your product on Amazon?
By searching and find.
Yeah, they got to search for it. And what do they use to search for your product?
Amazon, the type bar.
Yep. And what are they putting in there? What do we call those?
They're keywords.
Keywords. All right. So this seems like a good keyword, right? But do you think all 100% of their sales are coming from just this one keyword?
I don't think so.
So what would you probably like to know if you were a seller maybe considering this market?
Other main keywords?
Other main keywords. Perfect. And this is important for everybody out there who might be newer sellers or they don't understand this process, or maybe they're experienced sellers off of Amazon. You know, if we are selling a product in a store, for example,
right?
Like Ulta, let's say that we're a K-beauty brand and we're selling our face mask or skin cream in Ulta Beauty Salon, right?
Right.
If I walk to the store, I look on the aisle, right? And I can see my competitors, the other face mask or other face creams. Now, I can't just look at the aisle and within maybe 2 minutes, oh, I know exactly what the customers of my competitors were thinking about before they bought that product. I mean, that's like crazy talk. You know, of course not. But on Amazon, that is kind of like what you can do. Within 2 minutes, I can look at the aisle here of my potential competitors, and in 2 minutes, I'm going to know what customers were thinking about before they bought my competitors' products. And here's how. I'm going to select this product. This is the one that we said was selling the most. And I'm going to open this up in our tool Cerebro. Now, what this tool does is it's going to find all of the keywords where we have detected this product showing up in search results organically. You know, that means just where it shows up in the search results, in the sponsored advertisements, you know, PPC, and even the keywords that Amazon recommends. So I'm going to put here, maybe I want to find the top keywords where it's probably getting its sales from. So I'm going to say, show me the keywords, search for at least 500 times a month. And like when you buy things online or on Amazon or wherever, do you usually go to like page 5 or 6 until you find the product you want?
No, I don't.
No, I mean, very, very few people, right, have time for that kind of thing. All right. So I'm going to say, hey, show me where they're like on page 1, not only on page 1, but probably the top 15. All right. So I'm going to be able to filter that. And here we go. Let's see. Look at that. 10 keywords right here. All right. So these are the best keywords for here, but look at some of these keywords here. All right. Tic-tac-toe resin mold. That's the one that we originally found.
Right.
Silicone molds resin. This is interesting. Do you know what this is?
No, that's misspelling.
Exactly. This is a misspelling. So this is something, interesting for you Korean people out there. American people do not know how to spell sometimes. All right. So they're going to type in the wrong thing. And so if you had this word somewhere in your listing, like maybe in the back end, now this will give you a better chance to be shown for all those dumb people who don't know how to spell, molds. Like, that's surprising to me that there are almost 1,000 people a month who type in molds with an I. It's crazy. I would say that probably, 60, 70, 80% of the sales of this product are coming from these keywords. So these are the keywords that people were thinking about before they bought my competitors' products.
Right.
So if I'm going to have a similar product, that means that I need to show up for these keywords.
Right.
And that's pretty much what we have done, guys, in about 10 minutes here is we found a potential product, and now I know what are the main keywords I want to rank for. So
I have a quick
these are
question,
some of the two powerful tools. Go ahead.
Yeah. So when you launch, you target the keywords, right? So there's a main big keyword, racing mode. It has a search volume of 190,000 keywords. So it's really hard to compete when you launch, right? So you start to target the low search volume, easy to compete, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
and it's also the narrow relevance. Relevance to me is more important than search volume. Because resin, you brought up a very good example. Let's look at that. Let's look at how this keyword looks right here, resin mold. So as we can see here, there's all kinds of different kinds of molds, right? You know, what do we see here? Letters. I see here shapes. Those are sponsored ads. Let's see. Here's a maze, right? Here's, this is kind of cool. That's kind of cool, whatever that is. And then there's the checkers, and then there's a tic-tac-toe a little bit, farther down. But remember the difference when we saw tic-tac-toe resin mold. This is only less search volume.
Right.
But look, almost all the results are exactly this kind of same kind of product. So it's more relevant to the product.
Right.
Did you have another question too?
Can you go for the Cerebro again?
Sure.
So for me, when I just launched, I would start target a tic-tac-toe racing mode, which is a less search volume, and I see the Cerebro IQ score, which is a competitive, competition and search volume ratio.
Yep.
So I would start with a tic-tac-toe racing mode. Then where and how would you insert that keywords? I know you put in the list, the title and backend. So like, what would be a best chance for me to launch with that keyword? How can I
absolutely in the title? So this is why we choose the most important keywords first. When it's time to make your listing, we have the scribbles tool, right?
Right.
So I'm going to put those keywords right in here. Okay. And then this is where I'm going to create my listing. All right. So right here in the title, the important ones you want to put in what we call phrase form. That one was tic-tac-toe resin mold. So I would say here, tic-tac-toe resin mold. Let me just see if I can put another keyword in here. Okay. And then I would put tic-tac-toe mold. If I put right here in like one of the bullet points, tic-tac-toe molds for resin casting. Okay. So here, right here, tic-tac-toe resin mold, or that was the bullet point. I meant to put it in the title. But what that does is now it tells me right here, I use that keyword once in phrase form. And that's what's important. You always pick like 3 or 4 of your most important keywords.
Right.
Try and get 2 of them in your title, and also put it maybe at least one more place somewhere in your listing, but in phrase form, because that's going to give you the most signals to Amazon that this is an important keyword for your listing. And then that's why you use a tool like this. So then I know how many times I've used it. Look, it tells me I've used it once. I've used this one once. And then which ones I still need to use, which ones I have not put in my listing yet.
Right. That's great. And also, do you put it again when in search term and subject matter?
For like my top 2 or 3 or 4, yes. I also put it there.
Okay, great. All right, question answered.
Cool. So, these are the 2 biggest, I think the easiest ones that sellers of any level can find the immediate value, using a tool like Helium10. But obviously we have a lot, we have other tools. We have the magnet tool, which allows us to search for words. And it's interesting, lately, there have actually been some Korean words come up in search volume. There is now so many people searching in Korean language, like even with the Hangul characters. That show up in Magnet. Like I found one, it was like some gardening tool or something like that. So that's those will come up there in Magnet. We have scribbles. We have index checker. Index checker is important because it shows people, are you searchable or not for the keyword? We have a full financial tool, which allows you to get credit line and also get your Amazon payments every day instead of once every 2 weeks. We've got alerts, which sends you a text message. It doesn't use Kakao yet, but it sends you either a text message or email. Like if somebody changes your image or you have another seller trying to sell on your listing, we'll let you know. Email follow-up. It's important to get more reviews. We saw that, once you get like 9,000 reviews and stuff, it's like, who's going to compete with you? But the way you build up the reviews is reminding your customers to leave it. You can automate that with follow-up. We have keyword tracker, market tracker. Market tracker is kind of like what you were talking about before, of being able to have a notification when newer sellers who are trying to, get into our category show up. You'll find out about it in market tracker. We get tons and tons of tools all over the place here.
It helped me a lot to check my products are performing and compared to like other products in my same markets. And so like when it comes to validating new product before launching, like what are the factors do you put most importance?
One thing to keep in mind with Amazon, of course, there's nothing guaranteed. It doesn't matter how much validation you do. There's never 100%, guarantee you're going to have success. But let's say, looking through the data is important. Right? So you want to make sure there's demand for the product. And we talked about, we can look at competition and look at sales revenue for demand. We can look at the keywords. Is there enough demand for the keywords? And then another step with the validation is looking at the competition. All right. Are there a lot of competitors that have low reviews or maybe bad reviews or maybe bad listings, and we know we're going to be better than them? That's also a good indication. Now, sometimes we talk about strategies of finding opportunity that's really not yet on Amazon, you know, and that could be like some new trend that is ahead of the time, like maybe a product from Korea, for example, that Americans haven't caught on to. Like, you know, 5 years ago, you typed in Korean face mask, almost nothing would come up.
Right.
So how do you test demand if you think that, you know, maybe something's popular in Korea or it's something popular in Europe, but you don't see anybody with it in Amazon yet, and that's why you can't run the Chrome extension, you know, you can't run Cerebro, because there's nothing to run it on. So how do you know? So my suggestion there is, hey, if you have like 5 or 10 of the product, either samples or you actually have the real thing, what you do is you can make a test listing. This has nothing to do with Helium10 at all. This is just on Amazon.
Right.
You create the listing, put it at a really high price. Like if the product is $25, make it $60 or $70 because you don't want to sell it. And that maybe sounds funny, but here's why. What you do is then you create the PPC campaign on the keywords that you think is what people would use to search for. You don't know because you can't run Cerebro. You don't know.
Right.
So, and then you do a high bid so that you're at the top of the page. And now what you do is you measure how many clicks are you getting clicks?
Right.
And if you get clicks, even though the price is high and maybe your listing is ugly, it's okay to make an ugly listing.
Yeah.
That will tell you, hey, there is some demand for this product, because otherwise, if people were like, this has nothing to do with me, they never would have clicked on it. So the fact that they're clicking on a product that's $70, even though it's only $20, it shows some kind of interest, and that's a good way to kind of validate some of these newer markets.
Oh, wow. I never heard of that.
Yeah, I've used that method maybe 10 times in the last year and a half.
Okay.
And it was because I like doing stuff that nobody else is doing, like almost no competition.
Wow. Did that work for you?
Yeah, it works great. Those products
awesome.
generated over $500,000 last year in sales. So it definitely works.
All right. Now that you're talking about the product research, I found like so many great like products that are selling a lot on Helium10. And what other product research methods that you can introduce, since you're running like Amazon podcast, like meeting so many successful Amazon sellers. I know you like recently met like Trevin, and like he was mentioning about like a new product method using TikTok. Like what can you introduce to our audience?
There's all kinds of ways. Some of the ways that I was just talking about,
right.
A lot of the products I launched last year, I actually found them on Etsy. So I would go on Etsy and I would look at what's trending there, and Pinterest.
Right.
And you know, TikTok is another good place that where it's like you see what is trending. Sometimes you look for on like for example, finding unique products like in the Korean community. Like where are you located?
I'm in Jeju, like far south down.
Okay, so in Jeju Island, you can, you know, obviously if you're living there, you can get, you know, any Korean product you want, gochujang or whatever, right? The Korean people living here, or people like me who love Korean food, like I can't just go to my corner market like you can, you know, to get some products. So we have some bigger stores. Like, have you heard of H Mart?
Yes, I do. I've shopped there a lot.
And then it has a lot of unique products. So what I do is I'll go to H Mart, and you can do this
like
for
an offline search, right?
Yeah, you can do this for any. It doesn't have to be Korean product. I mean, every community or nationality has like a certain kind of niche special market, and you look at products there that are obviously in demand, and then you can actually check on Amazon for the search volume if there is demand there, and that's another way to find unique product opportunity. So there's really tons and tons of ways to find product opportunity. I know some people nowadays try and say, oh, it's too late to sell on Amazon. No, it's not too late. There's lots of opportunity.
All right. So that's good to know about the Etsy and Pinterest and offline shops. And also, I want you to explain like how big opportunity is selling on Amazon, because like Amazon selling is trending in Korea right now, and there are like so many other online businesses such as like drop shipping, like Blog and Coupon, which is like Korean market platform like on Amazon. And like I want people to like fully aware like how big it is. Like, but me myself like has changed a lot since I started this Amazon business. Of course, it's not easy, but it definitely worth it a lot. I mean, it worth so much.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Amazon is the easiest way to really scale up. Because it doesn't matter how much money you have. There's a way of selling on Amazon that would be beneficial. You know, like let's say you have zero money, $0 at all.
Right.
There's something called merch by Amazon where you just make a design and then it's for a shirt and then the listing goes up. You don't have to buy a shirt or you don't have to do anything. And then if somebody buys the shirt, then Amazon puts the logo on the shirt or the picture and then they ship it and then you get the money. So like that requires zero money. So what if you have, $3,000, $2,000? Well, you can make, a private label product, private label product, like anything random. Like here, this is a bamboo knife, right? Bamboo knife. This probably costs maybe 75 cents to make.
Wow.
You can buy 500 of these, you only paid $500. You ship it, another is $200 and you sell it for $10 on Amazon. So you take that money and then you do another product and then keep going and going. So like this kind of model is really amazing for Amazon because there's so many customers on Amazon. You don't have to worry about making advertisements on Facebook. I mean, of course you could do that to make more business, but you don't have to.
Right.
If you had your .com business though, you have to do that. Like if you just make, myproducts.com, nobody's going to go to your website. They have to have an ad to find it. But with Amazon, every day there's tens of millions of people shopping on there. So you just have to put the product up. You have to find what are they shopping for, put it up there. And now you don't have to worry about bringing the customers in because they're already there. So it's really a great way to, to make money right now.
Yeah. Another question is now that we have a 200 unit limitation. So for those of you who don't know, Amazon is limiting the number of units seller can stock in Amazon warehouse they can send. And for the new SKU. So how do you deal with this situation? And how do you decide how many units we should purchase from supplier?
I mean, everything depends on what the market is. If you were going to do Korean face mask, you'd probably need maybe 2,000 units because as we saw, that's a very high selling product. Now, that other thing that we saw was tic-tac-toe resin, right?
Right.
The average that people were selling was only like maybe 10, 15 units a day. So you'd be okay with only 500 units. Now, here's the thing. Unless you have a special agreement or arrangement with the factory, whether they're in China or Korea, it doesn't matter where, usually the minimum that you have to order is 500, right?
Right.
Maybe 1,000. So if you're like, wait a minute, I can only send 200 to Amazon. You're right. You're going to run out if you only send 200. And then now you wait until they sell and then send it again, another 200. It takes 1 month to get there or something. So what you do is exactly what I said. You find a warehouse, like Creative or any warehouse, or you have a friend who has a garage you can store the product in.
Right.
And then you send 200 to Amazon. And then the rest of your inventory, you store it in the local warehouse. And then as you're selling your products, now you send more in. You send more to Amazon on the way.
Right.
But you're sending it from America to America or from Germany to Germany, not from another country.
On the local.
And then you don't run out of stock.
Okay, thank you for coming today. I'll catch you up later.
감사합니다.
Alright. 자, 이번 영상은 여기서 마치겠습니다. 이번 영상이 많은 도움